Good morning, good morning. My name is Kwesi Opon. I go by Ohyirafour on Facebook. You call me Rekon Sengo. I've told you, Rekon is my grandfather's name. Sengo is the name of one of the leaders of Senegal. In fact, he was the leader of the Black Negritude movement in France around the 1960s, before he became the first president, maybe the first president of Senegal. Senegal is in the World Cup. Senegal is in the World Cup. I think they'll do well. They make it to round of 32, maybe round of 16, and they're out. Ghana eliminated in the group stages. We come home in the group stage after the group stages. Morocco will do well. Morocco will do well. I can see Morocco go past round of 16, even though Regragui has been expelled and they have a new coach now. Egypt with Hussam Hassan as coach and Mo Salah in top form. His form kind of dipped towards during the EPL season, but he seemed to have found his groove around the end of the season. They have other players who can show up. Mamouche, some very good players in Saudi who can come and boost the team. Egypt, Cape Verde, first time debutant. I don't expect much from them. Who else? South Africa. They open up against Mexico. I think they lose that game. They lose that game 2-1, maybe 1-0, kind of very slim scoreline, but they will lose that game. Who else? Of the 10 African countries, I think Algeria. I'm not so familiar with their group. I think they're in the same group as Argentina, or they will not go anywhere. Let me check the group again so that I don't make a mistake and check the African groups. World Cup. Okay, so Group A has Mexico, South Africa, South Korea, and Czech Republic. I think Mexico, South Korea, Czech Republic will end up getting out of that group. Canada, Bosnia, Qatar, and Switzerland. Switzerland tops that group. Bosnia will probably be second, or Canada can take the second spot because they are the host nation. They are going to be favored against Qatar, and against Bosnia they are able to get a draw, but they will lose the game against Switzerland. Group C, Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, Scotland. Brazil wins that group with 9 points, at least 7 points, because they will beat Morocco or they can tie that game, and then they beat Haiti by maybe 7-0, beat Scotland 4-1, and Brazil tops that group. Morocco will be second. Scotland will end up being third, with Scott McTominay, some of the guys who are playing the Premier League. Scotland can be third in that group. If they do well, they end up in the round of 32. Group D, USA, Paraguay, Australia, Turkey. Interestingly, I'm tempted to say Turkey tops that group. USA is second. Paraguay or Australia can be third. Germany, Curacao, Ivory Coast, Ecuador. This is an interesting group. I think Ivory Coast can be the surprise package and top this group. Ecuador, they are a tough side with Moses Caicedo as top striker in Ena Valencia. Curacao, they are going to give out a lot of goals. So Ivory Coast should do well and score more goals against Curacao. Maybe score 5-6 goals against Curacao. And with the up front for Ivory Coast, I'm very confident we get that good number of goal difference that we're looking for. So for now, out of the 5 groups that I've discussed, of the African countries, my hope is in Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast is my hope for the group stage in terms of the African countries. They are the only one who has a shot at topping their group. Netherlands, Group F, Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, and Tunisia. Tunisia will go home out of that group. Netherlands will be first. Japan will be second. Sweden will end up being third. This group, the arrangement is probably going to be the same. Belgium, Egypt, Iran, New Zealand. Belgium will be first. Egypt will be second. Egypt versus Iran. In that game, it's possible draw. But if Egypt is able to win that game, Egypt will be second. New Zealand, with striker Chris Wood from Nottingham Forest, they have a chance to score some goals here and there, but overall, they don't have a solid team. When they played England 3 days ago, they looked solid. They looked very solid. Boxall in defense, their defender number 5, Boxall, he's very good, but overall, they don't have a solid team enough to compete against Egypt in 90 minutes. And even Iran, despite its the fight against USA, the competitive aura, you know, the conditions, you know, political conditions against the India games, I think they are going to be tough for New Zealand. So I see Egypt in second place in this group. Belgium will top the group. Belgium should win all the 3 games. Belgium with Kevin De Bruyne, with Doku the Ghanaian on the wing, Meunier moving the ball from number 2 position, right flank. They're going to score a lot of goals in this World Cup. They're going to score a lot of goals. Look out for Lukaku. Look out for Lukaku. I think Belgium will score the highest number of goals against New Zealand, and then they'll struggle a little bit against Egypt, but they'll win that game, and then they'll beat Iran too by at least 2 or 3 goals. Group H: Spain, Cabo Verde, Saudi Arabia, Uruguay. Remember, Saudi Arabia beat Argentina in the group stages in the World Cup last time in 2022 against in Qatar. So don't mark them out. Cabo Verde, which is Cape Verde, Portuguese country in Africa, this is their first World Cup. Look, they play like Portugal. They are a very solid team. However, against the likes of Spain and Uruguay, they have no chance. Uruguay will beat them. Spain will beat them. They probably have a chance against Saudi Arabia. So Spain wins that group. Uruguay wins that group. One of the 2 will win that group, and the other will be second. Between Cabo Verde and Saudi Arabia, third position. Group I: France, Senegal, Iraq, and Norway. That's an interesting group. That is where I said Senegal will probably not make it past our round of 32, because in this group, the most likely thing is France wins that group. Norway or Senegal will be second, and I think Norway will get the nod because Norway will have Haaland up front, Captain Odegaard, other good players, very solid players. I watched them against Morocco. They look very solid. Iraq will be the whipping boys in this group. So it's going to be France first, Senegal or Norway second, and the third team will be either. So if Senegal ends up being second, Norway will be third. If Norway ends up being second, Senegal will be third. What happens after that is that if Norway is second, Senegal will be third. Meaning, even if they make the round of 32, they are going to play a very tough team who was first in their group, which is why I said Senegal will be out of the round of 32. So the whole hopes for Africa remains Ivory Coast at this point. Group J: Argentina, Algeria, Austria, Jordan. Argentina wins that group. Algeria can be stubborn against Austria. If they can defend well and use the long balls, they can threaten Austria. Austria beat Ghana 5-1 in the friendlies. But Jordan, they play with fast pace. They run a lot through 90 minutes. They have strength. So don't mark them out. I think Argentina wins that group. My bet is on Algeria or Austria to be second in that group. I think Jordan, they will not be whipping boys. Nobody can beat Jordan more than 3 or 4 goals. Argentina probably, but Argentina, Messi is going to be playing. So they're going to slow down the game a little bit for the other nations, which is good for Algeria and good for Austria. They'll play very nice football. The game probably slowed down because Messi is old. They are not going to be the same team that we saw in 2022 because Messi is pretty old. So It's going to be an interesting group, but Argentina will be first in that group, no matter what happens. Group K has Portugal, DR Congo, Uzbekistan, and Colombia. I'll be straightforward with this. Portugal wins that group. Colombia is second, and then DR Congo or Uzbekistan will end up being third. I think DR Congo, this is probably their third or second World Cup. Remember, when they used to be called Zaire, they made the World Cup 1 or 2 times. So this is not their first World Cup. Group L has England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. Ghana will be the whipping boys in this group. I think Ghana ends this group with 0 points, at most 2 points. At most 2 points. That will be a draw against Panama on the 17th, a draw against Croatia on the 27th. England will beat Ghana at least 2 or 3 goals, on the 23rd. So 17th, when we play against Panama, it's a loss. It's a loss. We will play well in the first half, but then in the second half, Panama will come into the game. They will score an equalizer, and if Ghana does not manage the last minutes of the game carefully, Ghana loses that game 2-1. Or in the worst case scenario, it's a 1-1 game for Panama. The next game will be against England. Ghana has never lost a second game in the World Cup. Ghana has never lost a second game in the World Cup. So, but this is going to be the first time we are losing our second game in the World Cup. Remember in 2006, when we played and lost our first game against Italy, the second game was against Czech Republic, and we beat them 2-0. In 2010 World Cup, we played our first game against, I don't remember who we played in the first game we played against USA. And in 2010, we won that game. And then in the second game, we won. We played, I think, Australia, and then 2010 we didn't play USA. We played USA in the round of 16, and we beat them 2-1. Asamoah Gyan scoring that beautiful winning goal in extra time. But in 2010, we didn't lose the second game either. In 2014, we lost our first game against Germany 1-0. And then second game up, we lost our first game against, it was Germany 1-0. And then we tied, I'm making a mistake, 2014, our second game was against Germany. I remember that game 2-2 against Germany 2-2. And then 2018, we didn't make the World Cup. 2022, what happened? 2022. First game against Portugal, we lost 3-2, we beat 3-1. And then second game, we beat Korea. Second game, we beat Korea 3-2. And then last game, we lost 2-0 to Uruguay. So Ghana has not lost a second game in the World Cup before. But this is the first time we are going to lose, because we are playing against our colonial masters, England. They will beat Ghana by at least 2 or 3 goals. Remember that when Ghana plays England, the terrain is USA. Nothing goes for Ghana in this game. US were colonized by England. England also colonized Ghana. So they have superiority over Ghana. That is spiritual. And then on the pitch, the players who are playing, there is superiority when it comes to who is a better player. Superiority. England has a better team than Ghana. Coaches. Carlos Queiroz against Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel is a better coach than Carlos Queiroz. On the day, let's say the gods of football decide to reward Ghana. The best thing we can get out of that game is 1-0 loss. That is 1-0 loss. We lose that game by just 1-0. If the gods decide to be nice to Ghana. If the gods decide to be nice to Ghana, we lose that game by 1-0 or 2-1. But if they do not look at Ghana, the gods of football, I'm not referring to the Christian God or any God, the gods of football, if they decide to look elsewhere and focus their attention on other things affecting the world, on that day, Ghana will lose that game by at least 4 goals. First half, we concede about 2 or 3. Second half, they are nice to us. They make some substitutions. They score 1 goal, and then the game is 4-1. Maybe they are nice to us. But remember, in England, when they had a strong team, and we had a strong team, we played them in England. and that game was 1-1 or maybe 1-0, they usually don't beat Ghana by a lot of goals. But just that this Ghana team sucks. Don't fool yourself. This Ghana team is nothing to write home about. This Ghana team is nothing. There is no miracle in USA. USA, they believe in science. They believe in the work that you have done. That is what USA does. There is no miracle happening in USA. The World Cup will be won by one of 5 teams: Brazil, Argentina, France, England, Portugal. Maybe you add Spain to that list. There will be no miracle. No team out of these 6 will win the World Cup. No team. Remember, the weather is going to play a significant role in this World Cup. So let me stop talking about the World Cup and go to talk about what I saw on Facebook. This morning, when I went to Facebook to check something, I saw this comment by an apostle whom I am very close to, Apostle Gideon Inkum. And he put a statement there. Husband is paying for house rent and school fees. Wife is paying for feeding. Who is really spending more, husband or wife? And this is what he put there. And I saw a lot of comments. I saw a lot of comments and I decided to comment too. Because usually when you see some things like this, people tend to comment wife, husband, but in these situations, the answers usually depend on the economic situation under consideration, right? Because imagine scenarios where the cost of living is very low. When I say the cost of living is very low, maybe food prices are very low, like America. Even America before 2022, the inflation, before inflation hit America after COVID, food prices were pretty low. Food prices were pretty low. You take $40 to the market and you come home with a lot of goods. What $40 could get you in 2018, 2019, 2020, right now you need about $250 to get. I'm telling you. So under those situations, the wife will under those situations where inflation is not on the food products, on foodstuffs, the wife will be laughing. The husband will pay the house rent. The husband will pay the house rent. The husband will pay the school fees. And he will say, oh, I'm paying a lot of fees. I'm paying a lot for the house rent. But the wife will say, oh, foodstuffs are cheap too, so I'm not suffering either. And then they will be happy. But if the cost of goods, the cost of foodstuff should rise, like in an inflationary market like today, where even Jenny Ghana say Jenny Bakuyima was 10 cities, until Bakuyima was 10 cities, the wife will be suffering because the economy is in an inflationary situation, right? And so the cost of foodstuff is very expensive. The cost of foodstuff is very expensive, and you remember the wages and salaries, they are always the same. They don't increase with inflation. So foodstuffs increase in price, wage and salaries will stay the same, right? And so the wife will be forced to either reduce the quality of the items that she's buying to feed the home, or she will need to, get some money from the husband to support with the money that she already had. Other than that, for instance, let's say she used to buy ingredients for the entire week. She used to buy them at 1,006. Now with inflation, the price of the food stuff has doubled. So she's now spending 2,000 because of inflation. Instead of 1,000 a week, she's now spending 2,000, right? Okay, she's now spending 2,000. It means at the end of the month, she has to spend 8,000 on foodstuffs. 8,000 on foodstuffs. And I don't think most Ghanaian women make 8,000 anyway. So, she'll be forced to reduce the quantity and the quality of the food that she's buying. Let's say this woman makes 5,000 cedis. When the foodstuffs were 1,000, she was spending 4,000 at the end of the month on foodstuffs. And then she will save 1,000 for her hair, for other products that she needs, like the pad, like, like a yesika, some money for all these things. So the tea, a cool near the idea, data beto, bundle near the idea, all of these things. Now, with inflation, the woman will be forced to spend about 6,000 to 8,000 on foodstuffs. So she loses the money that she had, the savings that she could make of 1,000 when prices were low. She is losing that. And the woman ni abreno, afina obema no nyere ba na no ye because of inflation no. I must say untimi save and the mass sika ni omo ho a no modwa. Sika ni omo ho a na obema ho ye ne. What I say, obema no so at this point, remember, utia school fees, no utia renter, you pay them at certain points during the year. No, so what you are car for the next 2 years, grana. I just say won't you rent until the next 2 years. School fees no tia no ebia 3 months. Intino, meanwhile, no balance week biya or so spending. What you say? Ebi grana in some cases, ebia 3 days be also come market no ko diga. Inti time biya or Tony man na obema no hoye ne. Na hoye ne. Ti obema no hu nyansa support under those circumstances when we say inflation hit into food stars boy den who be your banning. What you say? And listen, the women that we have in this generation, AI man, hard drink. I'm telling you, hard drink, ye ni brefo. Nyina, minyo twin yadwa, nyina, nana any eve, nyina ye ni brefo. Baku bi and the demo, adwin a ye de tena fie, say, manage ifie ni baku bi, nyina ye ni brefo. Baku baby. And the wife can say, any bema tia, ye managing in Nema, ye shese bema no, I dream ye sound. Bema no was peace of mind. Our dear manage fee. Bema so yes, amanoa, ni Jimmy. Now, me vera I will phone so. Bema yes, aman, or yes, ama bema, no brings a bema ni Jimmy. When yes, cano, no, so they share maybe to brings ni Jimmy, where no a girl be, no a conny baby one chain. Sa. Real life no the ope ye nya the onya ya mpe kind of sad dynamics na ope baby bunso no mpe o bunso pe be makwase bia be ma no mpe no na be ma no di ma bia ti sad life na oh the ope ye nya the onya ya mpe kind of sad intiwiase no so amoni ana hwa this economic models nkofo osemi hwie de me be ma no ebe ye project. We want to discover a project. Now we tria danka. Now we have kwala school fees. Na me so me di misika aje adu aduane amedi. Yo, we do time bi no. Say Ghana bro mo dia ba ne say. Say be ma ne si dan na se ni din na wo so na wo ba ne din so a ye mfa na say wa ye mu tia ye mfa dan ne ma be ma no. Ati ase. E no ma say ma na mo ye ni brefo. Me say me nyina ye ni brefo. Wo mu suban mu. Me nyina ye ni brefo. Ati ase because omo ni vai, omo ni bieja me ma no. Man, nyina nana ni Eve. So the Christopher Bible na ye adwuma nana even Eve and I say Hawa na kire say ye ni free be me. No ba ye ni free be me mu a we ni brefo. Hey, amen. Inya habo chenye sa. Tina Paul say munu omo ntena sa na kire say there is something for you to worry about. Sa no kire say there is something for you. But me kwesi pon de me kan kra kire o. What you say mo pa mo kan de make bia me mfa mo ho me. Oba life now ni papa obekọ ufufuro beba ono so ba no papa obekọ ebia mi mfra asase ma ware be se 30 me mfa ho what you say me mfa ho me life no na adwi nyina se me kiska what you say me kiska ti me kimisika na misika no se me sia me kimisika no sa na me pe no me di no me di misika se na me pe what you say na ko kan se me we bia ranti we say hey adwi wo de tim de no ba mi ba ho a me butu na me say oh uni aba ka ba me onyam na me ba no them all ska on say no ba si edu ni different. I'm telling you. And na me hohuru nkukum e wa ha. Odin say Elon Musk. World's richest man ohuru nkukum. World's richest man Elon Musk ohuru nkukum. Ono odina dwen no create niema geniema. Me ni sika nti na me ohuru nkukum. Na me kosi pon menye ska me ohuru nkukum. Me hohoro. Ajasi. Na bema no so it depended on no school and clariko. What you say? Any rent na wutiano, maybe a mote. Some mote airport hills are. Airport hills are. Rent no, besuma na uti ya oya. That you say. Now Timosizungwa. Rent no ultimate day 2 weeks at 1 month take to akwa ultimate rent. Utimuzungwa. Me didi uzungu for atem. What you say? Utimuzungwa ultimate 1 month take to rent. Enti di betu me amote school ben and granako. School ben and granako. Ebi an grad school mo kono. School fees no 5,000. Ebi an grad yemi. What you say? 5,000. I don't know. Ebi abusumi yenu aketua na odi atua. What you say? Enti such questions, they cause us to think. They cause us to think. But at the end of the day, the answer is not wife or husband. The answer is it depends. It depends. But in economics, it will be principle. We have ceteris paribus. All things being equal. Yet the numbers mawa and I bit me actually say we dear be cost was way and I say we dear ever cost so as way. But without numbers, without detailed information, I simply say that there is no specific answer you can give. Nyamisha or no mama sumji, and then Tuesday, and then Archangel I will see as I see your friend Raphael. Or Bob Messiah, no call. Raphael no or bar ukuta fish oil. We dey move angel logic because na the same churches are near because most people don't know and understand these things. Archangel no see as I see so and then your friend Raphael. Who say Bible no Abraham ka Jehovah Rapha. Just nyame a osame me yare. Ti Jehovah Rapha no eye nyame a osayare. What you say? There is something about this God. Nyame na yeso no bibi won ho a e bi obi an kan kire, and I'm going to tell you that. And then me masem dey me come be dey me wi. Me be kan ball ene dey me hu no Facebook no ho asem. Me wi. But me say me can be sure about God. Nyame na yeso no. I'm going to tell you something about him. Nyame we need him. Nyame we need him. We need him na America no. And say papa need him. But need him as based on what he's doing. You know mun krem fo no de omo 99 attributes om de amanyame. Makoma 99. Al hak nyame oye no kwafo. Al wakil nyame oye intelligent or building nema out of design step by step. Al muyamim. Al Rahman nyame oye merciful. Al Akil nyame oye the first. Al Kadil nyame oye the last. Alpha and Omega no omo de no. Al Kudus nyame o kan kre. Ko fondo mu din be pre emrane bes 99. Al Mutabir. Al Gafar. Al Jabbar. Edine doso eme denso. Tunya kwanya no akwehwe bi emosia. Ko fondo no. But oba yenye Christopher no a nyame din sesa based on what he's doing. What you say? Inti me kwasipon. Bra nyame bomeno. He becomes Jehovah the creator. So I know Samuel we Jehovah my healer. E come to know mediane dia Jehovah my provider. Jehovah Jireh. Jehovah my provider. It's a dear nyame ye no en manity. I'm saying this here. Sana nyame tie nyame we din baako. We din baako. Ti bia mu no oho. Eno no me nuanu masdi for nhyɛ da ntia asa. Ba wo na nyom fault. Omo nhyɛ da ntia asa. Because almost call baako. On na omo ye Kellogg flake conflicts na ya na mu hu no. Wo Martinez stores no Kellogg. Sa Kellogg no. Akwa na friend H Kellogg. No bing. On SD for nyanya debate about these things. Na adeba kwa me hu ni say scholars to say Kellogg no. Sorry, it's not for them. Sorry, it's not for them. Because sorry no be there. Sorry for you know. They ask questions. And sorry for need to be more answers. And when you are a scholar and you approach everything with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, boom said never be sorry for you. nyansa ne adwenim. So you tend to question. O question almost where the GD near there. No. GD should be based on something. GD will say nafapim. GD will say nafapim. O catch the Christopher na omno binyan to kwasisia. Na mima ya abutre. Oma yentiasie. Oma yinhunu oma yinyansa nso. Me say heaven upa kan Bible no say my dream man ebo. We jimia unko heaven. We jimia unko heaven. Yesu Kristo ba asasi so ba ya ampa wansa jimi yare wodi efa jimi nye mi wogide sa obeko bonsam say bonsam jimi o ha medim nim say bonsam jimi ani o but say we jimi a heaven ne bonsam jimi no obi nya waketua wodi ene bonsam jimi street obi a wajimi bia wa oni nyansa bebrebe so bonsam jimi street wa wodene wo ye badwemba wo na obeko heaven say heaven wo ampa mimi Nyankopon ka memfa ha nipa bi anko heaven musuba wo dia asase we so me sa fa mrasra baby ti me Nyankopon ti de papa no pe no wonye de wo yeso me usha for me mfa ho okay anyway yen fancy adu say you mom pai me something no Nyankopon kra wo mpro na wo ne ndie mo nyam ne nka for clouding something oba me da wase akwanya wo de ama ye na Tuesday you know ebnada heaven the friend third day as I see so your friend brother me asantini your friend brother omo kabro for say Tuesday French for say mardi. We know that you have an archangel who works on this day and he is responsible for the healing of your children on this day. As he descends the earth, let him bring healing to any soul that needs healing. I pray and commit my manageress, Amma, unto your care. Father, you touch her, you bless her life. Let your mighty angels who are responsible for the healing of your saints touch her. Grant her healing in the mighty name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Afi obebi a ohia yaresa wo da hospital. Omo da wo fie mu. Omo fe drobi. Omo doctor for hwe wo, nurse for hwe wo. Omo nso hu omo bone sa won yare. Said de wo pete. Obebi ohono mo a yare o yare no e wo su ono so ne time so afre no yeni pain of sometimes our minds and our thinking is that nyame say nyina yare no yare bi ho yare a is better off you die de nyame obe bia no e wo pe de open enye ho e wo yasete no ene da e bisa we Yeshua HaMashiach ni dim. Amen. Thank you for coming, my sister Oseji Bivera, Mamia Dra Brago, who watched some of these live with me. Yamin kama hu nshamo baby amubia. Hey Vera, net saying Vera ya no etwa me ha kakra. Wo me number no so ya no afre me. Na unu abe ma metiase. Abrabon metiase, mitimi na afu ba metiase. Nti ya no afre me kakra. Yamin ka ho. E da me ba live so e wo TikTok no. Mentimi an anyone in command check. Now because me promote you near man so cry mentimi any home come bio, but we can follow up with that. God bless you, Namisha Kunta Bismarck, and me offer asanom. Namisha, bye bye. God bless you all.